All right, so I'm going to demonstrate the oblique opener, or my version of the oblique opener. Before I go on, I want to say, if you can, on YouTube, go over to StrongFit and look at the oblique opener that he demonstrates there. It probably explains significantly better than what I can do. And he was the originator of it. He was the guy that started it, Julian, and he's demonstrating it with Richard Aceves, who is also incredibly instrumental to the StrongFit philosophy and everything, that the learning process there. I'm going to show you what I do because this is my channel. So I'm going to tell you what I do, and hopefully it helps you out. I will demonstrate it, I will get to it, and I will demonstrate it. But what I want to say first is you're going to start out in the center. Everything starts out in the center here. It starts with the psoas, then it moves to the obliques, then it moves to the glutes, then it moves down to the hip flexors, and then down, and it moves out as you get that connection with your body. It moves farther and farther out until you're at your extremities, and you can connect with every single muscle in the chain that you're supposed to connect with when doing the oblique opener. So the oblique opener is meant to be done as a internal torque builder, and as I find it, it's a great disconnect from the stresses of the day. It clears my head, it gets me breathing a little more controlled, it gets me thinking a little more clearly, and it preps me really, really well for anything that I'm going to do. So I prefer doing this instead of foam rolling my IT bands and my lats and my ET muscles. I prefer to wake up the IT muscles that might be asleep from a long day or from a stressful day. That being said, I do 3 rounds of this. I usually work for a minute, rest for a minute, work for a minute, rest for a minute, work for a minute. I do this a little bit differently than he demonstrates, and this is just something that I've found that helps me feel a little bit better connection to my body and to what I'm doing. The kettlebell goes below my belly button so that I'm actually activating the low abs and the obliques and the transverse abdominis as much as I can. And you'll see I stretch my legs out, but I don't flatten my knees to the ground. I leave them slightly bent so that I can better engage my glutes. So I get the glute max working, glute major working as much as I can. And then I try and squeeze the inside of the calf. I try and squeeze the inside of my foot, the inside hamstring, the inside quad, the glutes. I try and get my pec minor involved, my bicep, the inside of the forearm, the front of, I think these are the scalenes on your neck. I'm trying to get everything internal torque involved in this. The teres major, all that kind of gets in there. And the goal is that when I breathe in through my nose, and I press into the kettlebell, which will push my low back flat into the floor and will press my obliques out to the side. Now, something that I do that is different than what he demonstrates in the original video, and I'm sure he's got an updated video somewhere, is when you breathe out, I hiss through my teeth to try and keep tension, and I try and pull my belly into my spine. I try and pull my transverse abdominis in as hard as I can as I'm breathing out while keeping tension in the obliques. And I go back and forth like that. I used to measure the timing of my breath, 2 seconds out, 2 seconds in, all that stuff. Now I just base it off of feel. If I'm feeling stressed out, the first round, I tend to breathe a little faster. I can't inhale quite as well, and I can't exhale quite as well. But by the third one, I'm able to inhale and hold nicely, and then exhale nice and slowly, under control, and it's less hyperventilation and a lot more controlled breathing. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate a round of this. Hopefully you can see it clearly enough. Try this out. Start with a light kettlebell. I have an 80-pound kettlebell, so that's what I'm going to use. I've been doing this for the last 3 years, I think, now. 2017 was when I started. Probably early 2017 was when I started. Whenever they came out with the oblique opener, I started doing this. And it has worked wonders for me. as far as being able to engage more muscles in the IT chain. I'm not there yet, I'm still working on it, and that's what we're gonna do in the next video. So stick around, I'm gonna demonstrate this, and then I will, and then we'll show you the psoas opener. So I take the kettlebell, and I put it here, and then I'm going to, see my knees are not quite, I'm not flattening these down to the floor because that'll make my low back arch up. I've got my heels, I've got my toes pointed in, I've got my head up. I'm gonna put my hands inside the handle here. I'm gonna breathe in through my nose. And breathe out through my mouth. More through my teeth than my mouth. Trying to keep my body straight, but I'm trying to feel this left oblique. This is my weak side, my left oblique. Trying to feel that engage as I do this. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but I'm shaking here as I engage everything in this chain. And then go ahead and rest. So that's it. I rest for a minute in between. Nasal breathe between for recovery if you want to get complicated with it. And try this out. I do this before pretty much every single workout because it works for a lot of things. It works for my mind, it works for my internal torque chain, it works for warming me up and getting me started. And if I'm questioning whether I want to do something in the workout, it gets me in the mode of working out, it gets me going, gets me ready to roll. And I love it. Love the StrongFit group, StrongFit community. So thankful to those guys. On to the next thing. Let's do the psoas opener.